Call me a nutrition nerd, but I spent some time this past weekend trying to come up with a way to create a little visual for you about how to evaluate an eating plan. I think it's important if you're considering some kind of an eating plan, or maybe you're on one right now, that we take a look every now and then and figure out if that's a realistic plan for you, if it's a good plan, if it needs a little adjustment. I think everyone should have some kind of plan. In other words, even if it's very general, like I will eat when I'm hungry and I will stop when I'm reasonably satisfied, that's a plan. But it gives some structure, and it gives some reason to be thinking about what you're doing, and cuts down on some of that mindless eating that we can do, that we all do sometimes. So I have these building blocks, and I just want to show you visually, if you can picture this being a food plan, an eating plan, and you're putting the blocks, you're building this plan up, and each one of these blocks you're putting on is some part of the plan. It might be, as I put this block up, I might be saying, I will eat 5 servings of fruits and vegetables every day. I may put this one up here and I may say, I will not ever eat after 7 o'clock at night. I am putting this one up here, and maybe I will never go over 1,400 calories a day. And you can see where I'm going with this. You keep building your plan, you build it up, and everyone has their own individual needs for structure, a certain amount of structure. Too much is not going to work. We should be able to stay on this plan most of the time if it's a good plan. Say 85% of the time you're able to follow it. Otherwise, it's probably doing more harm than good, in my opinion. So as you're building this, think about that. If we add more complexity and we build, let's say now we're saying I will eat absolutely no white flour or sugar foods, and we're building, and all of a sudden this structure starts to fall apart. So these are some things to think about. You don't want too much complexity. You want it to be realistic. When you're putting these blocks on, you want to be thinking, am I really going to be able to do this 85% of the time? You also want to keep in mind that a plan should have a little bit of wiggle room. You're not going to be perfect. So as you wiggle this around a little bit, is it going to fall? Something to keep in mind there. If you're one of those people who thinks that doesn't matter what kind of plan it is, you're just going to have a hard time following it. It could be that you don't have enough of the support that you need to make this structure stand up no matter what the plan is, and that's probably something more in the emotional area. Maybe you're a stress eater, maybe you eat a lot of times when you're bored. Those things can sabotage any kind of plan. So try and think about making it realistic. It will be easier to hold the structure up if you're getting foods in regularly, maybe not every day, but regularly, foods that you like, that you're getting enough to eat. In other words, you're not getting over hungry. That's really important. That's probably the first thing that's going to cause this whole thing to come tumbling down completely, is if you don't get enough to eat. So I hope this helps you. I think visuals are always good. And take a look at what you're doing with your eating plan. Make sure you have some kind of eating plan, even if you're not trying to lose weight. How are you trying to keep yourself healthy? Are you trying to get more fruits and vegetables in? Are you trying to limit your alcohol intake? Those sort of things. It doesn't have to be really highly structured, but it's good to think about these things. So what I'd like to do is, my next video will be about those support structures that help us to keep any plan in place. The emotional side of this, maybe the people that we surround ourselves that can be either a support or a sabotage. So that will be the next one. Thanks for joining me.